Hey, this is Kieran, Coach's Corner Chats, and on the podcast today, I have Tara Stroud. Tara, where are you at, and what are you up to?
So I am currently, I own a marketing firm. So I've done a number of different things with soccer organizations. Specifically, I work with the Cincinnati Sirens women's amateur soccer team and Cincinnati Swerve, which is the men's side as well. I also work with local, youth soccer clubs and sports facilities, training facilities in the area, as well as volunteering and doing some things with high school teams and things like that. So I am heavily involved in the soccer world at this point. I've got 4 kids, three of which the daughters, they all play soccer. So I am 7 days a week on the soccer field or talking about soccer and doing soccer things. So that's what I'm doing right now.
So, how did you get involved or connected with the Cincinnati Sirens and Swerve?
So I worked with just on a personal level with some coaches and things that got involved there. I've been working with them since 2017 and, helped with a little bit of marketing, a little bit of some operational things in the background. Right about the time they were talking about taking a trip to Brazil as a mission trip, got heavily involved with that kind of stuff and promoting it and video and chats and things like that. So just kind of evolved from there, and my love of the game and my interest there kept me working with them. Like I said, some of the coaches and players there I've known on a personal level for a number of years, so it was kind of a natural fit, and I could help them with the organization, and I've kind of morphed and evolved as they have with the growth they've seen with a number of teams and Sirens Academy and things like that now. So I've stuck around and helped with all the marketing and kind of day-to-day operations, game day operations, scheduling and things like that as well.
So, from your time in 2017 to now, you just mentioned like the academies and some other things. What has the growth been like? What did it look like when you first came in to now? Because I know following, because being in the area, there seems like you guys are doing a lot of cool things now.
Oh yeah. So like I said, with the beginning in 2017, they were just playing in the WPSL. And I don't know, I think they had started in the PASL as well, which is the Indoor Arena League. And now, for the first couple of years, they did both of those things where they had a sort of winter season and then the summer season with the WPSL. And now with having taken 2020 off, so to speak, we're planning on a season, but had the time off, we were able to really kind of evaluate what we needed and the growth that we needed, the players that were coming to us to wanting to play, whether they were going into college or already in college or looking for, post-collegiate or professional opportunities. So we kind of sat down and could help on the back end. But so now we went from the one WPSL and the one PASL to we have one in the WPSL. And then the OVPL, which is a regional league that was just formed last year as well. So we have a U23 second team, so to speak, in the OVPL. We have added a third team for the Sirens, which would be a U20 team in the OVPL as well. And then in January or end of December of this year, we started the Sirens Academy, which is for U13 to U18, to be able to come in, train with the Sirens, do some speed, agility, skills training. We did a futsal league, we did a New Year's Day tournament and things like that. So in between their club and high school seasons, they can come in for 6 to 8 weeks and train with these really high level athletes and kind of grow from there. So we went from one kind of team to 3, 4, 5 at a time. But it was needed. Like I said, the players were interested in coming to play. They kept reaching out to our coaches and looking for opportunities. So I'm super excited for this season with everything we've got going on.
That's so cool that it keeps branching out, and I love the fact
Yeah.
that it's kind of filtering down, so you kind of almost have like this system of building. You can work your
Yeah.
way up, which is cool for
Yeah.
like, younger females to see. What do you think it is that's caused that growth? What is the setup, and what's drawing all these players to saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of that"? That's caused some of this growth.
So I think, the organization was founded on, obviously soccer and using that platform, but also giving back to the community and being involved in the community. the WPSL home games, all the net proceeds are donated to local charities around the area. So there's a piece of that people want to be involved in. But also, and I guess more so, the way that our coaches and our technical director and things structure the programs, we've gotten to be known in the leagues as kind of a model franchise. With this growth, again, having a youth kind of standpoint all the way up to professional level, we have players who have played professionally that have come back and now play with us, and and have transitioned from players to coaches. Bridget Reeder, for example, she's Lakota West's girls head coach. She's played since the beginning, and now she's our head coach for the WPSL. So there are respected coaches in place, respected back end systems in place. The way they structure their practices and what they do are just top notch. I couldn't say more about how the way they structure things. So, players get to talk and have good experiences and good opportunities, and just more and more are coming. We started kind of in Cincinnati, the regional area, and then that's grown and grown and grown. We've gotten people from all over that are wanting to come in and play. So it's just been fantastic to watch.
The other thing you brought up too before, like you were talking about the mission trip to Brazil. Mm-hmm. So I could even tell from the get-go, it wasn't even just the soccer wasn't even the first thing you brought up. It was like, hey, we're about to go do something bigger than the game. Yeah. And it sounds like that's something that as it's so cool because they're all adults and now they're starting to figure like, what do I want to do with my life if I don't do soccer? And it's so cool to have experiences in this within the surrounding areas and what have you.
Right. And I actually went back earlier today. Actually, we have a video of some of the players on our Facebook page that had gone to Brazil, and while they were there, they videotaped, and we're talking about the experience there. And they got to play on the beach with some of the teams that are there, and go to the Olympic Stadium. But also, they brought 200 soccer balls and old cleats and shin guards and all kinds of equipment to give to those communities there that are less fortunate. So it really impacted all of them. It impacted me. I wasn't on the trip, but kind of watching through their videos and what they talked about and what's important was just fantastic. And, another trip was planned, for coming up. And of course, with COVID had to be canceled. So that's something, on the back burner at this point, but still in the future, that another mission trip, whether it be to Peru or another country, that the team wants to do. So that is definitely something that has interested me a ton. I really want to go on the next trip. So if you guys are listening, I want to go. But it's just a fantastic organization from top to bottom.
That's so awesome. I love it. Yeah. Where do you see this going? Like, it seems like it keeps growing and growing. Is there a do they have a master plan of like at some point we may get connected into like NWSL, or do we become a team from Cincinnati that's in NWSL? Do we get connected with FC Cincinnati? Like what are some of the kind of hopes and aspirations for the group?
Sure. And some of those conversations have happened with our coaching staff and again, the technical director and things with FC Cincinnati, of course, in Louisville and things like that. We would love to have sort of a step program to either, filter into an NWSL program in Cincinnati or become it, whatever that may be. I know there's a lot of steps and a lot of things involved, but certainly that opportunity is something we are always interested in exploring. And again, we've had some players who have played professionally, but also some that are still looking to play professionally. So, if we can provide that next tier for them as well, whether it is, again, here in Cincinnati or elsewhere, we're open to those conversations to tie in. So, sky's the limit for sure.
Is there plans to, does the men's side, is that growing as well? I mean, is there outdoor teams as well? And whatever. I know I've watched follow quite a bit, and I know the indoor team has been pretty successful in travels and what have you. Yeah. I know the focus kind of seems to be maybe on the Sirens some more, but is there a thought to kind of balance both sides?
Yeah, so the Swerve program as well kind of started as a PASL team indoor as well and had some success there as well. This year they are actually joining the OVPL as well on the outdoor side. Hired a new coach and new involvement there as well to form some teams on the outdoor side with them. They also have a Swerve Academy. Same thing, U13 to U18. The boys can come in and learn from those Swerve players too. Certainly the indoor game and the outdoor game are a little bit different animal. So there's a whole structure in place as well. They don't have as many teams as we do, but I anticipate that growth as well with them. But I think there's naturally more opportunities for men and boys to play, obviously with the different leagues around. So, a little bit of focus with the women and giving some more opportunities for the women in the area as well.
I think the cool thing is that clearly with the success of the national team for the women, and just all the things that they've been doing with Black Lives Matter and equality for women and gender,
Yep.
all the LB, all that stuff. I think it's cool that we're kind of almost, I feel like I don't know much about the female game in terms of at this level throughout the national level, other than the highest one. So I think it's really cool for us to almost be like a beacon that's starting to grow something that I think a lot of people might kind of look at and go, hey, whatever they're doing is working. Let's see if we can kind of lead off of that.
Sure. And I think, being in the WPSL, and I don't know too much about, the UWS and other leagues that the women play in, because my experience is obviously in WPSL, but they have 140 plus teams across the country, largest women's league. We'll play teams in Dayton and Columbus and Cleveland. So there's definitely growth in Ohio and around Ohio. And again, with the OVPL as well, it is kind of cool. I mean, Cincinnati is certainly a soccer town. There's a ton of teams and youth clubs around. So I think it's awesome to have, the higher level capabilities for these girls to continue to play and kind of enjoy the competition.
And for you, why soccer? Was that something you played as a kid, or
No. No, not at all. Not at all. No, everything that I have ever learned about soccer has been through my kids. Like I said, I have 4 kids. My oldest will be 21 this year. She started playing, looking for something to do for my 4 or 5-year-old, energy running around. She fell in love with the game right away. We tried to push her in dance or cheerleading or, different sports and activities, and didn't really have an interest. And soccer kind of stuck with her, and I enjoyed watching her play and kind of succeed and get to know everybody in the group and the families and things. And then, of course, there's, my son came along. He played baseball, wasn't interested in soccer. And then my other 2 girls came, and there's a 6-year gap between my oldest and my middle daughter. So, she grew up on the sidelines. She grew up watching. She is such a little sponge, to this day. She'll sit and watch a game. So, of course, she wanted to follow along in her big sister's footsteps. She joined. And then again, my younger daughter joined. So I've been around the game for 16 or 17 almost years now. I fell in love with it too. I mean, the things that I've seen from my girls and what they've accomplished and experienced. And, my oldest went on to college to play. She had some injury and does not anymore. But, she was able to experience that level. My middle one is in high school right now and having success, and I'm loving watching her. I just really enjoy the development portion of it. When they're little bitty ones running around in this swarm and not really knowing what's going on, to have a formation in play, to, being super competitive and winning district championships and things like that. So my claim to fame is only parent tournaments during our club season. I play once a year in that. I did play in an indoor league last fall, I guess, or last spring. I've lost track with this year, but we got a group of parents from our soccer team to join a league on a Friday night. We were in a lower division and we were awful, but we had such a good time because none of us had ever played, but we just love doing it. So I'm definitely not a soccer player by any means, but I love the game, and I would love to keep playing and kind of get out there and do some stuff. But yeah, I'm not.
I'm assuming too that the girls enjoyed watching you running around out there playing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. They of course will critique and let us know what we were doing wrong. But in the parent tournament, I scored a few goals and I didn't get hurt, and I was super happy about it. And we just have a lot of fun. So and that's what I love about soccer too, is it gives people from any ability, you can go out and kick a ball around and have a good time. So it's a really good time for me.
I love the one thing you pointed out about when the oldest daughter was playing, your younger one just kept, because I know for like the high school, they always have, there's always young eyes watching everything
Hmm.
you're doing. And
Yep.
so it sounds like, are the girls pretty close even beyond the game of soccer? Are they always kind of bouncing things off each other, and kind of the oldest is leading them kind of as the mother hen?
Oh, oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. The last couple of years, she's away at school in Kentucky, so during the year we FaceTime a lot. But when she's home in the summer, and certainly soccer is what binds them together, and they talk about it. And my kids have always grown up in, you may not like the game or you may not like the activity that your sibling is doing, but you're going to be there supporting them, and that's kind of the culture we built. So um, my oldest daughter goes to all the games, and of course she loves it. My son is a little bit arm twisting at times because has three daughters that have played, so sometimes he doesn't want to be there, but um, they get along fantastic. They talk a lot. They're able to kind of talk about the game at a different level because my oldest has been through it, knows what to expect in high school, and if anyone else was going to go on to college, it's really awesome. And I will say to my youngest ones, call your sister and see what she has to say, or even if an injury or something, your sister dealt with that, call her and see what she thinks to do, or whatever. So it has been awesome to see, and they're so supportive of each other. So it's been fun.
And that for sure speaks volumes to you as a parent, and what you've all set up there. And you said 7 days a week you're at a soccer field or dropping someone off.
Pretty,
I guess a sports, because baseball's in there as well. So
yeah,
so
pretty much.
you're going from
Yeah.
all day working with the Sirens and Swerve and setting things up and
So,
marketing, and then the evenings it's like you become a taxi driver.
yeah, yeah. So with my job and what I'm able to do with my professional life, I have that flexibility, and it's kind of what I, you know, did on purpose. It was by design. So, if I had to work on a project for the Sirens or the high school team or something like that, I could do it at 3 a.m. if I couldn't sleep and wanted to be up, for a while. Um, I can go to my kids' games, or, for example, Friday, my daughter's playing in the blue chip and she's got a 1 o'clock in the afternoon game. So I'm able to go to that because I structure my work around that. So, yep, but my kids are, practicing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between the two. They're never on the same night, always,
Yeah.
Friday nights, we could have games. I mean, that's kind of my only night if I don't have a game. But Saturday and Sunday, obviously, we're at games and tournaments, and we do a lot of team bonding events and things like that, or dinners or whatever. So, of course, with the Siren season and the Swerve season, they have games as well. So I'm at all of those as well. So sometimes it does get a little crazy, but we divide and conquer when we have to, and otherwise, I'm at everything I can be.
What has the experience been with, like, so your oldest was talented enough to get to the college level. I know I think she's a freshman now. Is that
Yeah,
correct? She's
yeah,
very talented as well. I mean, playing in the blue chip and like opportunity to be seen by college coaches.
yeah.
What has it been like dealing with what I would call a very talented pair of players or trio of players, to keep pushing them, but keep them kind of grounded and focused on like the right things, I guess.
Can you still hear me? I
Yep,
think
I
you're
got you.
freezing a little bit. Okay, okay. So yeah, so it's been kind of weird. So with my first daughter, she was, I think to this day, will never tell you that she thought she was as talented as we thought she was, or her coach or whatever. Um, and we had those discussions, and she wasn't sure if she wanted to go to college and play, or what her plans were. And I always told her, and I say the same to my other girls. I said, you know, you've earned the right. in all the years you've put in to have that choice. And, you know, if you get to your senior year, I want you to know that you've done everything in your power to lay that decision at your feet. Do all the work, do all the prep, do everything that you can, so you make that decision. You don't allow the soccer, you know, gods, so to speak, make that decision for you. So we talk a lot about what their goals are and plans for the future and preparing for them no matter what they are. So my perspective has changed a little bit with recruiting in college after having gone through it with my first daughter. I didn't know what I didn't know then. But I did a lot of research and a lot of behind the scenes things, and certainly let her handle that process of contacting coaches and whatever. I never got involved with that, but if she had questions or what should I do or whatever, we would lean on our coaches, or, you know, I would able to make a little bit more educated conversation or decision about that. So, but like I said, my perspective has changed a bit about recruiting. Especially with my older daughter getting hurt and having some injuries, and she didn't finish her college career playing, and has, you know, had a focus on her academics and her major, which again, I mean, it always should be anyway. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see with my freshman going up what kind of her plans are, and we'll have those same conversations. Do everything in your power to be prepared to have the opportunity, and then if you decide to walk away, fine. If you decide to do something else outside of college soccer, or, you know, college altogether, fine. But we want that to be your decision. We don't want, you know, you decide senior year that you really do want to play and you've lost the opportunity because you didn't put the work in.
I love the fact that you have put it on completely on their shoulders. It's not like, oh, well, mom said I need to be like, you know, I'm going to do the same thing. I have a son who's a sophomore in college that's playing, and I have a senior right now who's going through the whole process of, and my wife and I keep telling, like, look, I'll support you, whatever you choose. You want to go become just a student, enjoy your 4 years, then go do it. If you want to play and experience that, that's up to you, type of thing. But I love the message you sent to him, like, just because you say you want to go play doesn't mean you just go and rock and roll. Like, I need you to you have to put the work in. If you've been playing for the last 12 years, why would you want to waste, you know, these next 2 or 3 years in the high school level in a club, not putting yourself in the best position on there? I think that's a great message for parents to hear is, you know, it's not me making the decision, it's you. So if you want to go play, what are some of the things now that you look back at maybe the first time, then the second time, what were maybe some little things that maybe someone could learn from that? Hey, if I could do it again,
as far as recruiting goes and things.
Yeah, the whole experience of that.
Yeah. So, you know, there are so many things out there, so many platforms out there, so many people trying to buy, you know, come to this website, we'll help you get recruited, or come to this showcase and we'll help you get recruited. You know, we're not a family that has oodles and oodles and oodles of money, so we didn't go out there and pay for every camp anyway. But kind of, you know, you get excited, and it's a natural occurrence, and I still do. You know, if a coach reaches out to me, or, you know, because I know a lot on a personal level, so I, you know, just in conversation, they happen to be at a game or whatever, and they give you a compliment about your daughter playing, you get excited. That's a natural, you know, response, right? But to not get so excited or so wrapped up in that process and trying to keep an objective view on what's best, go more research after the fact. We did get excited about some college coaches reaching out that maybe blinded us a little bit in what to expect. Certainly doing the research and her going and playing that first year, knowing that there were 3-a-days, and she was getting up at 5 or 6 in the morning and doing, you know, workouts at 7 and playing at 12, and then doing the gym at 5, and then trying to fit in class and that kind of stuff. You know, again, you don't know what you don't know. So having those sorts of things and kind of what I'm looking at programs now, and I spend a lot of time on social media with my work. I go and I follow a lot of college accounts now, and who's really hyping up their players, and who's talking about their successes, and who's out doing stuff in the community, or, or just sharing some random meme that they think is funny. I think all of those non-soccer things speak volumes about the program too. I mean, maybe that's silly from a mom versus these college coaches that, oh, it's only about soccer. But for me, it does. It speaks volumes on how they treat their players and what's out there, and talking to other parents that experience it or have players currently there, or I just look with a different filter, I guess, and kind of absorb it all, and remind my daughter's friends now, don't get so caught up in the excitement of it. It's a big decision. It's big money. It's big time. It's a job in college. There's not a lot of time to do anything else. So I don't know. I just look at it differently now.
I think it's a great point that sometimes you get so caught up in the, oh, I'm gonna have a signing day and I'm gonna go play soccer, and you know what high school is like and you know what clubs like, but like you just pointed out, it's a whole different beast when you get to college. It's very much more structured,
Yep.
and the whole thing of you're now an adult, you're on your own, so mom is not going to be taking you to your practices or whatever, or if you get home late from an away game, I'm sure that's another thing that your oldest is spoken about. Like, we went on an away game and it finished at 10 and we rode the bus and I wasn't in bed until 1, and I had class
Right.
in the morning at 8 o'clock. So I think there's a lot of growing up that has to occur, and I love the point that you made of, I'm looking for not just the soccer thing, but is there what personality does the coach have? Like you said, little funny memes, or do they post fun like futsal games that they're playing during the winter, or like you talked about the bonding and team bonding type things, and are they doing little things like that I know are going to help my player, in your situation, your daughter or daughters, get acclimated and socialized into the mix and what have you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And you look at, obviously the soccer things, their win and loss record, if they go to the tournament, how many people they keep on their roster, you look at all of that stuff too. But like I said, I think it's equally as important to look at the non-soccer stuff and just get the big picture. Obviously, visiting the campuses, we went, before we even talked to anybody, we went to D3 schools, D2 schools, D1 schools. We looked around at how big they were, where they were located, what food places were around, the typical college stuff, kind of made a mental list. Is this a type of school you'd want to be at? Do they have your major? Obviously, all of that stuff. So, yeah, I just look at everything. Everything matters to me. And now, having gone through it and what her college experience has been and continues to be, certainly that will carry through, as well, in looking at colleges for my other kids. But it's definitely a process, and it evolves, because I feel like when she's a junior in college, so I feel like when she was in high school, her class as freshmen, there were so many that were verbally committed so early. Sophomores, like I felt like my daughter committed very late. And I feel like the trend maybe is changing a little bit to where they're not looking at freshmen and sophomores so much as I feel like they did back then. And maybe it's because I'm not in it as much right now as I was, which I think is a good thing, because, my freshman is good now. Will she plateau? Will she get better? We don't know. She's a little bitty freshman. So I think that, I'm excited if that's the case, that they're not expecting people to commit freshman year at this point.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it's almost counterintuitive to culture now, where everything is, I click a button and I get it real quick.
Yeah.
The other thing was, with the other players verbally committing early, did your daughter feel pressured to make a decision, or was she able to be like, hey, they're their own person? And I mean, did you sometimes have to say, look, I know so and so, they've said that, but just, you'll figure it out. Like, once it comes, it's okay to take time and work through it.
Yeah. I think there was a little bit of pressure at times, because a lot of her very, very close friends were committing and kind of experiencing that hoopla about committing and talking about college. I think there was a little bit of that at a personal level, but we just hadn't found the right fit yet, and she knew that. and she knew that it was going to be a commitment. So she was fine with waiting a little bit. She committed, I think, the end of her junior year, so still wasn't senior year. And it was kind of nice though for her to go through her senior year and play her senior season and not have to worry about where she was going. I mean, that was a nice thing. But yeah, we're very open and we talk about a lot of stuff, and this is your journey, it's no one else's, and whatever happens happens. And like I said, if you decide ultimately senior year you don't want to go somewhere, just because you have offers doesn't mean you have to. And we kind of went from there. So it was a fun experience. I mean, it really was, but we found the right fit at the time and it worked out for her. So
That's awesome. That is so cool.
yeah.
I love your perspective on things. It's like I'm a doer, but I also take in the full picture of things. Even with Cincinnati Sirens and Swerve, it seems like you're constantly looking for opportunities to make impact in the community, impact within the club. What has it been like as a parent, dealing with coaching and what have you? Are you a talker during the games? Do you relax? Are you after the game, I'll get my 2 cents? What's that experience being across from the coach, I guess?
Yeah, so that has definitely been something that has evolved as well. Early on, obviously with my older daughter, I didn't know the game as much. I was learning as she was learning. I was more of a not a yeller, but on the sideline, oh, run this way or kick this way, the normal things.
Yeah.
I have to say though, I've been put in my place a few times by coaches through the years in a nice way, but why did you tell your daughter that? That's not what we're working on. Or even my daughter, why, Mom, we're not doing that in practice, or I ran this way because this person was running this way, or whatever. So I've been put in my place and I've had those conversations. So a couple years after that and kind of learning that process, I vowed to my kids and to myself that I was going to soak up as much knowledge as I could. So I understood what was going on in the game. And that kind of started, I guess, the fire of me loving the game as well that way too, because I go to my kids' practices and I not so much right now, but I would sit on the sideline at practice and I would listen to every single thing that was going on at practice. And I would listen to what the coaches were working on. And I would better understand how it translated into a game because I saw him working on X, Y, Z at practice. We've been fortunate to have really great coaches that aren't yellers during games. They like to teach and then let the kids play. And I'd have conversation with the coaches and say, why did you do that? Or, after a practice in my car, what'd you guys work on at practice today? And would let them kind of dump it on me. And so I would understand. So as the years have gone on, I've gotten not as quiet. I'm still like a excited person, but I purposely try to just cheer positive things, like great job, so-and-so, way to run, good hustle, those kind of things, versus trying to coach my kid or anybody else on the sideline. And that's just from, like I said, me being put in my place and understanding that I've hired a coach to do something for my kids, just as I've hired a teacher to teach them at school, just as I've a piano teacher, whatever it is. I don't know more than they do. So I'm gonna let them do their job. So like I said, I vowed to myself to kind of be that way. I've surrounded myself with a ton of great people in Sirens and things like that, that every time they open their mouth, I'm learning something. So it's gotten easier for me on the sidelines. I understand again that big picture of what's going on, but it's definitely been an evolution. Definitely.
I love the fact that you said that it's been an evolution, and the cool thing about it too was, I love the fact that you kind of said, okay, they're telling me I'm not focused on the right things. I'm going to learn. I think that's so cool, even for your daughters to hear you, like to see you. I'm not here to evaluate your practice or what you're doing. I'm here to learn so I can be a part of the positive group that's surrounding you. And the other thing I think is cool that people need, I wish we get better at, is this, that self-awareness like the coach said something to you, but you didn't just like shrug it off like whatever, dude. It's my daughter. I can clearly tell they're not doing blah blah blah, but you took it as all right. Maybe he's got a point or she's got a point.
Mhm.
Maybe I should take a step back. And I love the fact because it's a great kind of role modeling for your daughters and for your son to see. All right, I didn't know what I was doing completely. I thought I did, which happens all the time in real life. And I was
Sure.
told by someone, I didn't take it and go into pout mode. I said, okay, I'll take a step back. And then I started looking at what can I do to get better at supporting you and understanding the game, which I think the cool thing too is, and you keep bringing it up too, is great coaches. Sirens is surrounded by people that you're learning from and support you and have like-minded types of things. I think it's so cool. I don't think it's coincidence that that's occurred for you because I think just your the way you have been sharing things, whatever, it kind of just sets that's how you are. You just kind of bring
Mhm.
people in and surround yourself by solid people, and I think that's awesome for your kids to see, and then
Thank you.
and what have you. So um, yeah, just I love it. So stinking cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I
Yeah.
think is cool is uh, everything has conversations involved. And with all the stuff with phones and texting, and I'll just Snapchat it real quick. I love the fact that you're like we're having conversations after practice, like it's constantly. So is that something that's you've always been a conversationist of sorts?
Yep. So two things I always say to friends and family. I said, you'll never wonder how I feel about a topic, and you'll never wonder how I feel about you. So I wholeheartedly believe in conversation and letting people know right, wrong, or indifferent where I stand or how I feel or how someone made me feel. I've just always been that way. Um, it's gotten me in trouble at times. It has. Um, and things that I've regret saying in the past or whatever. And I'm a passionate person about things as well. And again, that's another evolution that, I shouldn't have done that and I won't do it in the future. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy conversation and just learning and absorbing things that are going around. And, specifically with this last year and this climate of everything going on in the world, um, whether it's a pandemic or Black Lives Matter or, equal play again with the women, I want to know more so I can have better conversation. I want to go into something having some knowledge and bringing something to the table about whatever that subject may be. So I do. I reach out to a lot of people. I follow on Twitter a lot. For a long period of time, Twitter has that soccer chat, hashtag where there's a bunch of coaches that get
Yeah.
together and chat. I followed and interacted with that for months. And every time I introduced myself, I said, "Hey, I'm Tara. I'm not a coach, but here I am trying to learn." And I would have coaches, send me private messages and ask me why my perspective was that way, or for better clarification. I would post questions so I could learn because on there's high school coaches and college coaches and ones that are just starting. And so I love talking and learning about every perspective of everything. That is just ingrained in me. So um, it's not a chore at all to me to learn and kind of grow from that. So I focus on it a lot.
I think the other cool, neat thing about it is that here we are adults and we are still trying to figure things out. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a great message too, just for the youngsters like your kids and just
Yeah.
coaches out there that are starting out or they've been doing it for 10, 15 years. Like
Yeah.
you're always like the evolving is a great word to use. You're
Mm-hmm.
always kind of evolving and moving. And plus, when you're forced like this last year, you don't have any choice but to evolve to
Mm-hmm.
make things fit in, what have you. With the Sirens, what is the group that surrounds you? What are some of the positions that are in uh, within the group? And is there like a headquarters? Is there a spot in town that you guys actually work out of? And is there a training area, or how does all that stuff kind of work?
Yeah, so they with training and then their indoor season, it's all headquartered at Game Time Training Center in Fairfield. So they'll do their practices and things there, and that's kind of the unofficial headquarters when we meet and get together with the team. Um, there is a nonprofit organization that's kind of the umbrella of those two organizations between Sirens and Swerve. with a board who makes decisions as well. But I've got, like I said, the Bridget Readers and John Boat, who's been around for, gosh, I don't know. I don't want to age him too much. I won't say that, but decades. But he's actually the owner of the Sirens organization and funds and does all those things, and just an amazing person. You've got Craig Rodas, who technical director, was the head coach, and a national team coach, has coached professionally, played professionally for 16, I think, years. Just amazing amount of information from him. And then some of the other coaches, Jake and Alex and Chase and things, that are local coaches around in different clubs, who bring the youth kind of perspective in and are able to coach now as we have the academy and move up into the professional ranks. So we do, chat on the phone a lot, and we throw in text messages back and forth, but we do get together as a group and kind of talk things out. And like I said, I let them handle the soccer side. They've got all of that knowledge, and then I just bring in kind of the back end support of what we need. So every time they open their mouth, I'm learning something from all of them, and it's fantastic. And even the players, like I said, some have played professionally, some have played, at a high level, have had, record book breaking seasons at their high schools and colleges and things like that. So it's just a really cool thing to see everybody come together like that.
What has the impact been on your kiddos being a part of all of that? Have they been like, this is so cool, I would love to be a part of this one day? Or has it kind of sparked that kind of aspirations maybe?
Yeah. So they do, they've all come and volunteered at the concession stand and kind of worked and watched games and since I've been involved. My freshman this year was able to participate in the Sirens Academy that happened for the first time in January. She'll tell you, to do it with a couple of her teammates and then some other girls who are older. And she got an opportunity to play with some of the real Sirens, the adult Sirens players, a couple different times. And I don't think it really dawned on her. I was telling Bridget this the other day. I said, I don't think it dawned on her. She was out on the field with Bridget Reader, who's 30 under 30 coach, state champion coach, played professionally. She was on the field with Jackie Esterkamp, who played professionally overseas, with Macy Hamblin, who, has records at Fairfield and NKU. Kate Drummond, who just is an all-around amazing person and breaks ankles of the best men she plays against. I don't think it dawned on her that was the level at which she was learning from and being surrounded by. And we joked, she said, maybe it would have scared her and she would have been nervous, but she got out there and played her little heart out and learned and listened and absorbed. And she did. She'll tell you, she's gotten better. So it's exciting for me as a mom to see them now, having kind of grown up in the operational side, to be able to now get those opportunities to play with these women, because I think the world of them. So it's been a fun transition as well.
The one thing that goes back to when you were talking about your indoor experience was anybody can play type of thing. And it doesn't matter that we were professionals. We're not going to we're not above playing with, if you want to play, come out and play. And if you want to try to hang. But like you said, I'm going to break your ankle. I'm going to make a move to make you, so you better be ready for it. And the next time better for it. And it's the old adage of iron strengthens iron type thing. So having her surrounded by that type of quality soccer player, but even more, like you said, even just better, just women, with just great heads on their shoulders is huge. I've absolutely loved this chat. This is so stinking cool.
I have too.
I'm excited because I'm going to start checking into it a little bit more. But for people like me and for others, what's a great way to contact you, and what's a great way to find out more about possibly, watching games or being a part of the Cincinnati Sirens or Swerve? What are some of those options to contact, reach out?
Yeah, so we have a very active social media, especially on the Siren side with everything going on. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even LinkedIn. And then both sites have a website. So CincinnatiSirens.com and then CincinnatiSwerve.com. My contact information is listed there on both. People can reach out to me as well. or our general Cincinnati Swerve at Gmail account and our Cincinnati Sirens at Gmail account. So there's definitely different ways to get in a hold of anybody. And if I'm not the right person, I can put anybody in contact with any of the coaches from any of our teams, or our academy director or technical director and that sort of thing. So definitely out there. I am personally on all social media as well. So anybody can reach out to me too, on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and get a hold of me there too. So there's lots of avenues.
Right on. I will put all this, the information about the Cincinnati Sirens and Swerve on the episode notes of this when I send it out and share and what have you. The cool thing too, I know, is that we've got so many awesome people within that organization, it sounds like, that, and we love to talk the game and how we can grow it. So I think if people have ideas of, hey, I was thinking about doing this, you guys are, hey, we're all open to what we can do and continue to grow and make a positive impact in the soccer world.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And I think too, just as a side note, I would encourage anybody that wants to get involved, especially on the women's side too. There needs to be more female refs, more female coaches, more female administrators, things like that are out there for positive role models. So, if there's anybody that wants to jump on board and get involved, definitely reach out, because we are always looking for people, and men too. Don't get me wrong there too. We're always looking for, people to get involved on the back side of things, on operational side of things, but also in coaching and things like that to impact these young players and kind of, be these role models that they all need. So even if it's not a player, or you're done playing, or that's not your avenue, anyone who wants to work in the soccer world on the other side, we're open to talk to anybody as well.
That's an amazing point too, and you're a perfect example of that. Like, I'm making an impact in the soccer world, and I don't really have a plethora of playing experience, but I've learned, I've been on the sidelines, and here you are making a huge impact and connecting. So I love the idea of there's other ways to make impacts in the world of soccer.
Yep. Being a soccer mom is not all that bad.
No, it's not. It doesn't sound like it is. I mean, if all this, there's a bunch of soccer moms going, wait a minute, all I got stuck with is a smelly van.
Right.
And she's hoping to run like a little semi-pro team, and it's growing and bubbling up, and then her kids are rocking and rolling and doing amazing things. But like I said, even just from the chat and just the way your perspective on like the recruiting side and how you're doing things with the Swerve and the Sirens, I don't find it as a surprise that you're having success in, with what's going on with your family and with what's going on the kind of the business side.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah. I've tried to do the best that we can.
It's like you said, it's all an evolution. It's all a process.
It absolutely is. Like if we have a certain standard, we can't hold our kids to a different standard than what we have, right? So we've got to, do the best we can, let our kids do the best they can, and kind of evolve together. So it's definitely a process.
Well, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Hey, this is Karen Coach's Corner Chats with Tara Stroud, and I'm out. Peace.